Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Master Debaters. I am AdamMcKola. He is Joe Smith from Stretford Paddock. And everyone's probably calling me a masturbator in the comments, or maybe another word, as we are half an hour late. That is right. We're half an hour late. Better late than never, but never late is better. But we are late today, and we are here now. Joe, sorry to you, firstly. Rather than those people at home sat there waiting for their free content, moaning out there.
I've been twiddling my thumbs for the last half hour, coming up with some stats so I can win this debate, actually. So it's been good for me.
I was on the phone. I was having a deep conversation. And I looked at my WhatsApp and then I saw you messing. I thought, oh, my God, I'm supposed to be live at the moment. And nearly shook myself. So here we are. We're live. And today we're discussing who starts with Pogba and Bruno, because I'm assuming everyone wants Pogba and Bruno, right? Do you want Pogba and Bruno, Joe? Or are you going to ruin this show? Start?
I'm not going to ruin it like that. No, play your best players. There are two best midfielders. You've got to get them on the pitch and work it out who's going behind them afterwards, because they have to play. They have to play.
They have to start. I agree. And are you going for a midfield three as well? If you were to pick your favourite United team?
No diamond, none of that. I think we need Rashford on the left. We need some, Greenwood or James on the right, and I think Martial up front. And the best way to do that is the three behind the net. We've seen the diamond against the bigger side sometimes, where you see Martial and Rashford split, and I think that can work in sort of a handful of games a season. But if we're looking at what is going to be the most often occurring midfield three when we come back, it's going to be this. Yeah, the three in it. It's the three.
It is. I agree. I wish it's that anyway. I hope it's that. I see advantages in the diamond. I see advantages in the 4-2-3-1. I see advantages in the 3-4-1-2. But I think more often than not, we should be going 4-3-3. It's the way forward. And in my opinion, it's the one that we've seen our best football in under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Think back to when Ole was at the wheel and we had Matic, Herrera and Pogba. So today, myself and Joe, we're going to have a debate about who should partner Pogba and Bruno. Now, Isaac has already got his super chat in. And he says, Isaac says, what a midfield, Pogba, Bruno, and Adam. Wait, Adam.
Yeah, you're in there.
I was hoping for, I was thought that said Ander then, when I first put it up. I think we would be a great midfield. Thank you for your super chat, Isaac. That's your second today, mate. I hope that's not your old man's card in there. Connected to your Google.
Fingerprint scanner.
Otherwise, I'll be getting done for that. But me and Joe are going to talk about who we'd like to partner a player. And we're imagining it because we know horses for courses and different games and things like that. It's the second video that phrase has come in today featuring me and Joe.
I've still got it written down from the last one.
But we know that different games will see different players start. So let's imagine this is for the Spurs game. The next game back, Man United against Spurs. Who, Joe, are you picking alongside Pogba and Bruno?
For me, it's got to be Fred. I think we've seen a resurgence from Matic. We've seen that. I won't tell her if you don't.
I'm going to get done for fraud.
We've seen a resurgence from Matic in the last few months, and I think that's coincided with the introduction of Bruno Fernandes, with a more stabilised defensive unit. I think that as good as he's been, he still is on the sort of twilight of his career, and I think that Fred has been the sort of ever-present, most appearances out of the midfield three. I guess the obvious decision here is between Fred, Matic and McTominay, isn't it? And I think as good as McTominay is, I think Fred has taken his game to another level this season. I think he's the most industrious. I think he's got the best legs of the three. Obviously, we've seen McTominay with that ludicrous 1,600 metres or mile run that he did the other week. But I think just in terms of that nippy, sharp, kind of quick turning, aggressive, sort of terrier-like holding midfielder, I think to do that job by himself, I reckon Fred is just coming to a point of his United career where that is the role for him now.
I've been impressed with Fred this season. I do think he's stepped up. I thought he was finished. I didn't think we were going to get much out of him. I was quite worried by the fact that we'd made a signing that pretty much looked like it was going to be a dud. And especially at £50 million, you start to worry. But Carrick, McKenna, Ollie, they saw something in him. They saw something in him. They kept working on him. And one of the big things he lacked was confidence. And it was, he'd make a mistake, his head would drop. Again, his head would drop. Every mistake he's made, his head dropped. And I read an article, I think it was with Carrick or McKenna, and they were like, we've just taught him how to play with his head up constantly. Like, stop dropping your head, stop feeling sorry for yourself, keep getting at it. Because in midfield, you're not going to win every battle. You're not going to make every pass. And I think that was important for him to know. Maybe he was trying to rush himself to impress and trying to do all these things. You're coming for big money. But I do think he's settled down nicely and he's showing that he's a valuable member. The only worries I would have would be in a big game like Spurs, in a big game away from home, is he defensively good enough?
Well, I can get into some stats for you if you want the statistical answer to that.
Let's go,
just to add another point to what you said there. I think another thing he mentioned and the coaches mentioned him getting used to the speed of the Premier League as well, where he wanted to take that extra touch, he wanted to stop and put. I'm worried for him. I'm worried now. He wanted to stop and put his foot on the ball and look up and then pass it. And now he does everything quicker. He doesn't take that down the ball. He doesn't dawdle. He would give the ball away on the edge of the box sort of once every other game, and you'd think, oh God, we're going to concede a goal. But this season, he's played 25 Premier League games. He's had 0 errors leading to goals, which is one of the big things that last season, like I said, we saw it. Was it against Watford? I think he did it against Watford, or maybe Wolves, where he just passed the ball straight to the opposition and they scored. And you just thought, we can't have a player doing that. He hasn't done that this season. Comparing the three of them, he's got the most interceptions, obviously, because he's played the most, but he's got the highest interception rate of 1.44 interceptions per game, which is higher than Matic's 1.16 and higher than McTominay's 1.25. He's also got the highest number of tackles per game, which is higher than both Matic and McTominay. He's also got the best tackle success rate of all three of them as well. So, in terms of the ground defensive game, interceptions, I think, is a key one, because one of the things that people have a go at Fred about is that his positioning can sometimes be lax, that he gets dribbled around too often. But interceptions are a good indication of defensive positioning. It's what Michael Carrick built his career on defensively, at least, is being in between the lines and cutting out passes before you have to make tackles. So not only does he cut out the passes before he has to make tackles, he also gets the most tackles out of all three. Now, the one place he definitely is the weakest of the three is in the air. He's the only one of the three who has lost more aerial duels than he's won. So you do have to sort of balance that a little bit. But I think with Maguire behind him, who's obviously one of the best headers of the ball, I would say, in the league, I think you can sort of counterbalance some of that sort of aerial weakness that Fred has. But I think it surprised me that he had the best defensive stats of all three of them, and just sort of backed up the point that he has got so much better, and no errors leading to goal. Is that per 90
minutes as well, or is that
per 90 minutes? Yeah, he's got more interceptions, more tackles, but he's played more games. So I divided the number of tackles by the number of games he's played for all three of them, and 1.44 interceptions, 2.16 tackles compared to the 2. When
he says he divided, he changed the thing from total to per 90.
Well, I did the math myself to make it per appearance rather than per 90, but most of these players don't have too many subs appearances. So yeah, he's got the highest percentage of all of them. So I do think he's improved so much defensively that people sort of overlook it because you think of him as someone who can't really defend. But I think that sort of proves otherwise.
Mark Williams has made a comment here, which is away from the debate almost. Well, it's not. It says, on form, the midfield should stay the same. Matic, Fred and Bruno. Do you agree or disagree?
I think...
You obviously disagree because you've said Bruno and Pogba should start. So
in theory, I disagree. When everyone's fully fit, I disagree. But there is a case to be made that Paul Pogba's played, 6 games in the last 9 months? Or something ridiculous like that. I don't know if it's quite as extreme as that. But exactly. So if we are talking about the Spurs game, you mentioned the Spurs game in particular, I do see a situation where Paul Pogba doesn't start that game. And he has to come on as a sub or work his way back into the squad, because we're going to have so many games, probably 2 games a week for the next 6 weeks, that he isn't going to play every game, and we are going to have a second and third choice midfield sort of trio. And another thing to bear in mind as well, we haven't really seen Solskjaer, except for a handful of games when he first came in, play anything other than 2 holding midfielders. So there's a chance that we don't play with 2 number 8s and 1 number 6. We might play Paul Pogba deeper, as he has played before for France and for Juventus, or not for Juventus as much, but for France he's played in that deeper role. So there's a chance that we don't actually see a sort of 3, a sort of flat 3. We might see Paul Pogba dropping into that number 6, and I think Fred would definitely suit him as a partner there, the best of those 3 as well. What do you think?
Pogba comes straight back in.
Yeah, I think he does as well, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if he didn't.
I think that could be the case if every single player in the squad was playing football regularly, apart from Paul Pogba, where every single player has been off for 2 months, like Paul Pogba. You know what I mean? They've all kind of come back, and actually Pogba's probably fitter than most of them because he's been working on his recovery and coming back. And so I agree. If we're in the middle of a campaign, and I know we are in the middle of a campaign, but we're not.
No.
It's a little.
And also, Paul Pogba's fitness is always generally excellent anyway, so I wouldn't think of that he's the sort to come back out of shape or fit or with a bit of extra weight, and I think he'll be pretty much top notch as soon as we're ready to go. So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I hear you. My choice now. My choice. It's a difficult one. I'm genuinely torn, and I think based on the fixture, more often than not, my answer is the one I'm not going to have today. So if we were at home against Spurs, if we were at home against anybody, I'd probably pick the other. But in this instance, Nemanja Matic is the one that I would pick behind Pogba and Bruno. And some of you might be thinking, Adam, you're a dickhead. You just said Nemanja Matic shouldn't be staying at Man United. The reason why I say we shouldn't give him a contract or keep him at the club is because I feel that's a position we need to improve on. That's a position that we need to get a better player in overall in the squad. And keeping Matic prevents us from doing that. But there's no denying when he's fit and he's not playing every single week, when he's rested and well rested, and for the bigger games against the bigger teams, Nemanja Matic is the man that needs to come in. He's the most defensively astute out of all of our midfielders. He's the most robust, and he's the most strong in terms of challenging. Maybe he doesn't make as many interceptions as Fred anymore as he used to. That's going to happen. But I think he make up for that with his experience and with his nous and his knowledge and his know-how of just sitting in front of the defence and not moving. I feel away from home, having a Fred or a McTominay there, they are very likely to roam. And with a Bruno and a Pogba, you don't have as much luxury in that able to happen. I also look back to when Ollie first came in, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, Matic, Herrera, Pogba. That was the midfield, MPH. It was getting things done. And I liken what this midfield could be because I feel, now hear me out here, Bruno is like Herrera but better.
Yeah.
He's got the engine. He's got the leadership. I'll point around as well. I'll do this and all that. Tactically, he can do a job for you if you want to. Of course, he's not as defensively minded, but he's happy to chuck a challenge in, be a little bit nasty, do a little bit of the dark arts. He'll do all those things in midfield. We're not having 2 out-and-out attacking mid. People seem to look at Pogba and Bruno like they're 2 out-and-out attacking midfielders. They're not.
Yeah. No,
they're not. And I think they really can work together, but we do need that solid foundation behind him. And as long as Matic isn't playing every game, every week, against Spurs, for example, like this one, he's the best man alongside both of them, in my opinion, because he's the better player. The issues come long-term, week in, week out. Scott McTominay's got a better ceiling, in my opinion. And if he can become as good as Matic was in his prime, then he'd become a great player. But he's got a decent ceiling and he will improve. Fred too. But right now, I don't think any of them are better than Matic in that position. Fred looked at in Pogba's position, and I think McTominay, you'd rotate him with Matic.
The thing with Fred is, though, I know someone said in the comments as well, you sort of mentioned it there, that he was kind of doing Pogba's job while Pogba wasn't there. But actually, Fred's been there when Matic wasn't there, when McTominay wasn't there, when Pogba wasn't there. He's been there all season. He's been doing different jobs and increasing his output on all fronts, except maybe scoring, because he can't shoot, on all fronts all season. And I think it's a bit unfair to say he was just sort of plugging a hole until Pogba came back, because he's made it's Fred. I know you haven't said that. But that's sort of the suggestion. That's, you know, if he comes straight out for Pogba, then that's kind of the suggestion, isn't it? And I think he's improved so much, and he's the one that's sort of tied everything together this season. And I know we haven't been great this season, so you could say, well, yeah, he's been the main man, but we've lost loads of games, which we have. So I understand that. But I just think that he's defensively he's better than we think he is. And I think give him that role of sitting behind those two, which as you said, isn't like, I meant the sort of example is before was, it's not like we've got two Mesut Ozils in front of Fred, someone who just likes to go forward, don't really put a tackle in, and sort of strolls back when he fancies it. But Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes are both sort of, quote, box-to-box midfielders when they want to be. Pogba can get a tackle in. He's so strong. He's so physical. He's great at sort of cutting across people and physically pushing.
He doesn't need to tackle sometimes, does he? He can
get
his body
just push people across people. Yeah, and the same with, not quite the same in the same way, but the same can be said for Fernandes, in that he's so industrious and he works so hard and he's willing to put a slide tackle in and he tracks back with his man. This isn't, you know, Fred having to do all the defensive work in the way that someone like maybe Fernandinho would do, because it's Bernardo Silva and David Silva in front of him. He's got two players who are much better going forward, but are good coming back. So as good as Matic is, I think someone with a bit more of is a bit quicker, a bit sharper, a bit more agile in there might be a better solution to kind of mop up whilst those two sort of come back to support. But I don't think Matic is a bad option. I think he's the most traditional number 6 that we've got. And I do think that we need another number 6 long term, like you've said. But I don't know. I think it would be so unfair on Fred. And I know it's not football.
I think McTominay and Fred will play more games than Matic this season.
Yeah.
I think Matic could be more important as the season goes on.
Yeah.
I think Fred, in a midfield 3, Fred should be one of them two, not the back one.
Yeah,
Same
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? And that's
I do get, and I agree.
If our bench has Fred and McTominay on it, geez, that's very good.
Yeah,
but
Drew there with the Matic disrespected always. Our best record is with Matic. It is, and I think Matic has been really good. Like not unbelievably good, as in he's the best player I've ever seen, but it's one of the best turnarounds I've seen for a player of his age. And where after that Everton game last season, I honestly thought he would never play for United again. He was so bad. He was literally like,
as well.
Yeah, he didn't run. He didn't try. He looked like he was done. And to have come back from there when he's 31, because obviously we've seen Fred, who's probably had more of a turnaround. He wasn't even playing under Mourinho, and now he's one of our better players. But Matic looked done and 31, which you don't usually come back from. And he has been really excellent since in this second run that he's had in the team this season. But I think one of the reasons that we've had such a good record with him, which actually I think he's only won 7 of his 12 appearances, and he has lost 4, if I remember correctly. So it's not as though we've been world class with him. Is because of Bruno. Is because of this settled team. He's been one piece of what has been this successful stretch of 11 games, which is really by far the best spell we've had all season. And I think anyone who's played a lot of those games, their stats are elevated just by being in a more successful side. Not that he wasn't a part of why we were successful as well.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I think that we've got some very good options now, which is good to have. And like Sean says, Pogba, Bruno, McTominay week in, week out, Fred instead of one of them so often for rest, and Matic at DM. You're never going to probably play the same midfield 3 every single week.
No.
You know what I mean? You can't do that anymore, especially if we end up in the Europa League again. We've had 3 new members since I last mentioned the new members earlier. We've had a lot in the last day. So thank you to David McBrin, Veda, and Keegan Gilbert for becoming the 70th, 71st, and 72nd members on the channel. Remember the target of 100 by the end of the month. We are 28 away. Get hitting that join button if you can. And remember, if you're YouTube Premium member in select countries, you'll get a free membership on some channels. So make sure you redeem that shit on my channel. Why not? Anyway, we are coming to 30-second time. Do you want to do 30-second time? Or do you feel it's been a civil enough debate that we can send it to a vote?
I don't mind. I don't mind the 30 seconds. I can do 30 seconds on Fred. I can make my choice known in 30 seconds if you want me to.
Okay. So, Joe.
Yeah.
Why do you want Fred to be Pogba and Bruno's partner for that game against Spurs? Go.
So we need a defensive player to play in behind these two number 8s. Look at the stats. He's got the best interceptions per game. He's got the best tackles per game. He's got the highest tackle success out of all 3 of the options that we're talking about. He is the best defensive option. Matic has got the history and he's got the career that sort of backs him up. But really, as the current players that we have at our disposal, Fred is the best option to play there. He's also played the most games this season. He's the most fit out of anyone. He's got the best agility. He's got the best way to cover everyone when those transitions happen. And Matic hasn't got the legs anymore.
Stop. You actually took that long.
Wow, it's too long. Sorry, guys.
It's not a disgrace, to be honest.
I know.
Rude. Go on. You got a stopwatch or something? You're going to count?
Oh, yeah, I got a stopwatch. Easy. I'm ready when you are. 3, 2, 1, go.
Nemanja Matic should be playing for Manchester United in that holding midfield role behind Pogba and Bruno because he's simply our best defensive midfielder. Once he gets a good rest in him, once he's got his legs in, he's got his energy, he's by far our best. He's still got a decent few games in him like he showed he did last year. And especially for those bigger games, really a little bit more up here, a little bit more in the tackle, and a little bit more in terms of the sensibility to just sit in front of your defence and clean it up. That's what Matic does.
And stop. There you go. Lovely.
You looking forward to football starting again, Joe?
I'm so excited. I hope we get off to a good start. It's going to be so disappointing. Imagine if we lose to Spurs and then draw the next one, and all of a sudden everything, we just remember what it's actually been like for the last 7 years. If we have a good start, win 1, win 2, get a draw, win the 4th, something like that, it would just make the world a difference. I just want to feel this confidence and this excitement, just carry that on a little bit longer, just a little bit longer.
Just for a week longer.
Just a couple of weeks. Let Bruno just have one game where Bruno scores, Pogba scores, Rashford scores, Martial scores. If that happens and we win 4-0, I'll be like throwing.
You'll be like me every time Martial and Rashford score in the same game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, just a ball of happiness.
Yeah, I want that. Goal, Martial, assist, Bruno. Goal, Rashford, assist, Pogba. I want that. That's what I want. If we just see that one time, and I'll be so happy.
One time?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully it happens. I hate, though, because like we mentioned earlier on the video we did for Stretford Paddock, cheeky plug.
Yes.
I mentioned earlier that whenever we get that midfield or that selection that we want to see, I don't know, what was it, Bay and Lindelof, or I don't know, fucking Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger and all, it just never works for us. So hopefully this is the one.
No.
What was the other one? Blind Herrera?
I don't know. There was one
Blind Herrera. And Matt, no. Blind Herrera, Pogba? Under Ollie?
Maybe.
Under Josie? Was that it?
Maybe. Yeah.
That we wanted all the time?
Yeah. It goes to show that the fans, there's a reason why coaches are coaches and fans are fans in it, because the amount of times where the fans are almost unanimous on this is our best 11, and then you see it play 3 or 4 times, you're like, oh, that was a bit shit, that wasn't it? No, yeah, get the other lad in, get Jesse Lingard back in because he works for the team or whoever it is, yeah. But hopefully this time we can have what we want.
I seen a stat about United's best team in '99. You know, the one that everyone can reel off: Schmeichel, Irwin, Neville, Yapstam, Johnson, Keane, Beckham, Scholes, Giggs, Cole, York. That team didn't start together that many times.
Yeah, I know.
It would always be like Sheringham and Cole or York and Solskjaer.
Henningberg in there as well.
Yeah, Henningberg. Nicky Butt, who, in my opinion, would start for United every single game nowadays.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, you've got a video to be going doing.
I do.
Apologies for being late today, guys. That's why we're getting a shorter video than usual. But thank you to Joe for being patient and waiting for us. He's Jesus, though, so he has a lot of patience.
Yeah.
The world needs Jesus these days.
Yeah.
You know what's mad? If Jesus was around these times, no one would. He would hate probably most people.
And he'd probably just be like an influencer or something, and everyone would be like, "Oh, we're sick of it."
He's talking shit. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
He's getting it. You can't really walk on water.
No, he'd be bundled in with like a mixture of Dynamo and one of those evangelical sort of preacher guys. People would just be like, "Oh, I think it's just a fake trick. It's not real."
I met Dynamo once. Now I know he's had an illness, and this was before everyone knew about it. So I don't know whether it was because he was ill. But when I met him, he just looked like he had seen the devil.
Really?
Like he didn't look like there was anyone behind the eyes. And asked
Maybe
him
that's
to do
why
a trick.
he's so good at magic.
And asked him to do a trick, and he said, "I gotta go somewhere."
Yeah, I mean, that is a bit cheeky by you, isn't it? It's like going up to Peter Kay going, "Tell us a joke then, big lad."
No, it's not, though.
It is.
On the street. I seen him on the street in town. Do something, bruv.
No, he's not at work.
That's what you do in your TV show.
What if he came up to you and went, "Do a fan cam, Adam"? What would you have done?
Yeah, but if I was outside Old Trafford.
Yeah, but the streets, that's not every street in Manchester, every street on earth. Dynamo has to do tricks on command.
Why not?
Yeah, if you're really magic, you'd do it, mate.
Yeah,
I'm on your side now.
Cards in his pocket.
Yeah, definitely.
Do something.
Or just some sort of like hanky down his sleeve.
End my phone or something. Like, dude,
yeah. I agree with you now.
Like, David Blaine weren't magic either. What did he do? Sit in a box?
Yeah, and he caught a bullet in a cup in his mouth and that.
Oh, that was good, that one.
That was good.
That was good.
Filed all his teeth down, chewing glass so much as well.
Actually, I like David Blaine. David Blaine was good.
Do. Have you seen that thing you can do where he drinks loads of water and he can like squirt it out like a cannon out of his mouth?
Oh, Triple H.
Not like that, like a human tap and like fish and that come out. it's mental. It's good though.
Fish out of his mouth.
Yeah.
That was a weird time. Weird time in life. Favorite Dynamo magic trick?
The one that springs to mind is walking across the Thames. That was pretty cool.
I liked when he just went through the glass.
Yeah, that was good.
Was that with Rio as well? I think Rio was holding up the coat.
Was it?
But like that, because you know when he does something with a card, you can say, well, he could have. But if this Bray has just gone through a window, bro.
Yeah. And like, someone probably knocked on that window to make sure it was legit as well. Like, that's how you test if a window's got a hole in it. Just knock on one part of it. Yeah, it seems legit to me. Ding,
and
ding,
it's like,
ding.
all right, it's not magic, but it's still amazing. Do you know what I mean?
The illusion is still just as impressive.
Yeah. And that's why I hate people. Oh, it's not magic. So what?
No.
EastEnders playing real, you still like it sometimes.
Yeah. Part of the magic is him keeping up the magic trick is all of the stuff about the show and you were still fooled. Being fooled is the magic, not whether it was like God doing it or him with some special powers. The magic is being fooled. Come on.
God.
He's like, come on, mate. I'm about to run headfirst into a glass window. Please help me out here. Just spit that in.
Joe, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you for joining.
You too, mate. Cheers.
I think we should watch some David Blaine together at some point.
Oh, I'd love that.
That would be a good fun. But thank you for watching. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Are you live now at 8 o'clock?
No, it's a members-only podcast, so we're going to be doing that, but we'll be live in the morning for the paper talk, so make sure you check that out at 11 o'clock on Stretford Paddock.
Subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to the new members. In a bit. We're still here at the moment. Until